The man looked at the woman on the bed, tears glistening in his eyes. He was about to end his own wife's life with his own hands. The doctor slowly disconnected the life support system from the sleeping woman. Then they waited quietly for another life to come to an end. But just at that moment,
Retropulsion.
the man stared in shock at his wife's hand. His wife had been brain dead for 10 years. How could she suddenly react? The female doctor explained it was just a normal response of dying muscles. But Sean spoke up bluntly. There's also a tiny chance it's brain activity. Hearing this, the man lost his composure. He ordered the doctors, reconnect my wife's life support system right away. Even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, he refused to give up. But the test results were as heartbreaking as always. Her brain showed no signs of activity at all. Suddenly, Sean had an idea. Move down to the adrenals. Soon, the results came out. The red spots on the image were particularly noticeable. But this was far from good news. Danny has cancer. The tumor was malignant. Without surgical removal, the woman would die within a few months. But even with surgery, the success rate wouldn't be high. Moreover, even if the surgery succeeded, she would still be in a vegetative state. So the doctors recommended stopping treatment. But when he heard his wife had cancer, the man actually seemed a little excited. This meant his wife's body was undergoing changes. Maybe next time the changes happened, she would wake up.
Then you have to operate. I gave up on her once, I'm not doing that again.
Even though this was destined to be a completely meaningless surgery, the doctors still didn't dare to take it lightly. But an accident still occurred. Before the test results came out, they didn't know what had caused her to wake up suddenly, but the doctors were more willing to believe it was a miracle, that the husband's 10 years of constant companionship had moved God. But fate wasn't ready to let this poor woman off the hook. The test results were heartbreaking. During the surgery, a capsule ruptured, causing the tumor to leak a large amount of dopamine. Her brain was completely wrapped in dopamine. The dopamine activated her brain, allowing her to wake up. So as the dopamine ran out, she would fall into a coma again. But if they kept her awake by injecting dopamine, it would poison her. She had less than 24 hours left. The hope they'd just seen vanished into thin air in an instant. This left the man on the verge of breaking down. But he still comforted his wife, telling her not to be afraid. Honey, even if you fall asleep again, I'll stay with you forever. I'm not going anywhere. But how could his wife bear to be his burden again? She had already held him back for 10 years. She secretly signed a do not resuscitate order with the doctors. By the time the man found out, it was already too late. When she fell into a coma again, the hospital would not use a life support system to keep her alive. In their final moments together, they talked a lot to each other, but all their conversations were about the past, with no mention of the future, until the woman slowly closed her eyes.